sir.
God, what we believe, Father, we just thank you, Lord, for today. Lord, we thank you for the gift that you give us of life each and every day. Father, I just pray right now that you be with us, Lord. And Father, I pause a moment just to pray that you be with the family of Ron Plant and their terrible loss of their son, Lord. Just comfort them, put your arms around each one of them, Lord. And Father, as we do the work of the county, Lord, may you bless this work. May you give us guidance and wisdom. And I look forward to a great day. Thank you, Jesus.
Amen.
I will entertain a motion to...
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. All right. That's the least amount of arguing we're going to have today. So, Mr. Baker?
Make it quick, it's gonna be a long.
This will be quick. First of all, pardon not being able to be here all day yesterday, some medical issues, but I really appreciate, and I had to go back and watch again, but the fee-based, the fact that you raised the construction or the building fees, outstanding. You know, it wasn't that long ago that our governor, Bill Haslam, was saying that we needed to have gas tax increases because it was a fee-based thing, but honestly, people that are using things, they should pay for them. No different than we're talking about growth and having construction, pay for. That's how it should be. People use stuff they pay for. People who don't, they don't. I mean, that's right out of a Republican playbook. We don't give stuff for free. This isn't a welfare state. So anyhow, I appreciated the work and the conversations yesterday. This is one of the most important things we do all year. So I really appreciate you all taking time off from your jobs and stuff to be here. So thanks.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I've got a couple items on my report here. First, I just want to pause for a personal note. Something just hit me yesterday. We're all aware of what happened with Mr. Plant's family, and I just, he came in here and did his duty, which I think was way above and beyond. And I also just think it is important to have perspective as we go through stuff like this. I called a couple of y'all earlier. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning. I could not get it out of my head. Just to maintain some level of perspective about what we're dealing with here. What we are dealing with, as Mr. Baker said, is very important. But there are things which are more important. And so I'm going to try to maintain that thought today. Terry, as you and I will inevitably get into some arguments, which is good, but...
I would like to reframe that to beneficial discussions on the topic, because that's what we're here for.
That's right. And just to maintain some level of perspective as we go into that. Now, understanding that as well, thank you for letting me say that note. I think we all recognize that we are unlikely to get through everything today. So I would like to propose and then entertain a motion to set a, well, I don't know that we need, I think I could just say it, but without any issue here, I would like to propose that we set a date for an additional 4 to 5 hours on the 16th to tie off our budget efforts in the evening. Are there any issues with the 16th? No.
Will that be when we discuss the actual detail of the operations, not just the new request?
No,
we won't be doing that.
We won't be doing that.
At all?
No.
Okay.
We won't be. I mean, sometimes you can, there's some level where you kind of start to get into it, and we had some of that yesterday, but that won't be the purpose of it. I'm expecting today that we'll get through salary, and that we'll hopefully get through capital projects, but there may be some tweaks. There's going to be likely some long-term planning to try to get through all of this. But I understand that we may not, and then we also need to give the departments time once we submit our, the budget for any kind of additional asks that they may have, something we may have missed. So I would propose the 16th for this.
How early do you want to do it? Because you could do it
4 o'clock.
Can everybody make 4?
Yeah, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock on the 16th.
Well, the only thing I have is we've got scholarships that night at Gallatin High School, but I'm sure somebody else can take my place.
Okay. So 4 o'clock on the 16th it is.
I'm gonna do 4 to 8.
Yeah, 4 to 8. We'll do 4 to 8:30. Give it 4.5 hours. Well, it'll probably end up being 11.
Well, way down for 10, about 6 hours. You
That's what we'll try.
Wait, it was about 6 hours last.
All righty. Yeah, and it's normal. I mean, it's normal. This is really almost a 3-day thing. So, and, you know, we're doing a 9-figure budget, so. Okay, go ahead.
Let's talk about a couple of things. Several of you have been on the budget committee for several years. Back in 2022, I was a proponent of the salary survey, and I know a lot of you don't necessarily talk about funding the salary survey, but as you can see last night, or yesterday, we were using this one for all of Middle Tennessee in a 22. So when we get to my budget, I would like to discuss the possibility of updating the salary survey. Not to say you're gonna fund it, but at least it'll give you an idea. Today, you're funding things, but it'll give you an idea, are you funding them appropriately if you do one? And it won't be as expensive, but that's something I would like to discuss at that point. But since we did pass this out, and I was given a free copy of this because we participated, I would like to kind of discuss what we're actually looking at here to make sure everybody's actually understanding what we're looking at. Because it was passed out mid-meeting, and nice everybody's copy, see if we got any more copies. I'll see if I got another copy I gave. I think you gave me the extras. They're right here, so. Does anybody else need another copy of it right now? Yeah. Did anybody bring District's package? Should have been in place. Did you bring District's package? I was gonna give you guys the other one, but I'm gonna run one short.
I can run copies in your office if I have
Yeah,
Yeah, can we,
I can wait on one.
okay, make sure I don't have one with a bunch of notes on it. Yeah. Okay, he's got one, so here's this one, and then John's got one. What this is basically, the one that did our salary survey does several counties, and they actually do what's called surveys. So they did the surveys of medium, large, small, and all counties. The only thing I've included in here to make it simpler is large counties, because you wouldn't be comparing yourself to, I don't know, Athens, Fayetteville, Fairview. You're not really comparable, it's not the same cost of living. So if you go through it, and you can see several notes at the top. But to start with, it's got like your EMS people, your fire people, which are, you know, they're fairly simple. They show you the medium, the top, the salary, or the top. But let's go down to one, and I'll be happy to look at finance or planning or anything. But if you look, let's kind of talk about the number you actually see. Let's just look at chief accounting manager.
Page number?
I'm sorry, it's probably,
The numbers at the bottom line.
yeah, it's page number 2. I'm sorry, I didn't realize the numbers today. So if we just kind of look at that, and if you look, it's got the labels, and it says, it's the third set down, it says administration, finance, and that's an easy one to follow because we have an employee here, and they're an 18-year employee, so let's kind of follow what we're looking at. Generally, an employee anywhere from 7 to 10 years of employee experience and should be trying to approach your midpoint. So if this is your median point for the average and you're assuming that it's correct, then in 7 to 10 years, that person should be somewhere around the 102. Before that, they should be below. After that, they should be above. If you come over the next set of columns going from right to left, you see the 139. That is the medium, not the top, but the average for the top scale. So if you've got a 30-year person and they're paid toward market, they should be approaching that number. That's what we were talking about yesterday. We're looking at the first, but you really kind of need to take it in context. The other thing you need to realize is if you've got professional employees, when you bring them in, you bring them in for the professional. So a lot of times you even hire those at the midpoint to give you kind of a lot of cities, counties allow for hiring at the midpoint on professional employees because you're hiring them in already fully trained. They've got 5, 10, 15, 20 years experience. Usually don't hire them in at 0. So it kind of gives you an idea. If we look at the top, kind of an easy one to follow would be like, it's got your EMA director on the right, and those are the ones that are generally averaged out everywhere. They don't usually follow the same. So I'm sorry, on page 1. If you start from the top, it can kind of shows you, because it's public safety EMA, the 109,513 was the average of all EMA directors for the large entities at 2023, at the end of 2023.
I'm sorry, Mr. Long, I'm trying to find you on there.
Are you on page 1?
Page 1.
Far top, 109, there you go.
Yes, sir.
that is the average for all those large entities, or the median, in the large entities for an EMA director, an EMS director, all the way down the road. They got your AMTs, EMS, paramedics. And if you notice, there's not as much scaling out because these don't vary quite as much. And then below that, your fire departments and your police. The thing you're gonna end up with is it has some large categories, but it's not going to address us specifically. What I was reading you from this one is all the way back in 22, but it does address our county specifically, but it's quite dated. That's why I mentioned if you want fine tuning, then really get the consultants to come back and do something like this.
That's what he wants.
I guess I'm gonna challenge a little bit, quite dated, 2 years old. I mean,
This is what they make it
I
behind.
mean, pay in the private
This
sector
is the
is
median,
not
you
substantially
said.
increasing.
This is what we want to
I
move
guess, I
to.
don't.
He's making this right
To me,
now.
2022 is still comparable to 2024
That's what it
because
should
like,
be making.
job's a job.
He's
And I mean,
making
a lot of
that nuance
the private
that-
sector things don't,
that
just
false.
because the government does crappy things and increases, you know, fiat money, which causes inflation, doesn't mean that their wages increase. I mean, that's reality. So it's, I guess, I wouldn't discount 2022. I mean, I think it's,
It's market driven, so as you're saying, some of them may increase very little. Some of them will increase significantly based on the market. So it's kind of market when you go out to buy something, some things are the same as they were in 22, 21, all the way back. But some things, especially food, is
well, I know, I'm not
increasing.
voting that, I say you just screwed everything up. I mean, that's because of fiat money. But,
And then some of your feed places will charge you more. It's according to what you're getting, it's all market-based, supply and demand. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of dated, because some of those may have actually stayed flat, maybe went the opposite direction.
fine, yeah, but I wouldn't discount 2022, that's just what I'm saying.
Right.
We're talking less than
But where it's the most useful is we can take the numbering, because they have a scaling number to 14 or 15, and it can kind of compare internal employees to other internal. Kind of like yesterday, there was an employee that you guys had a question, we could compare them to other offices based on the same stuff.
Here's the thing, it's given us, sorry, go ahead.
Even this is only 6 or 7 months old, let's be realistic, so it's not like old.
No, this one's not dated a whole lot. I received it back in January based on 23
Yeah,
days.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. This is the. so
That's about as good as you're gonna get right
There's
now.
no, yeah, that's where I was gonna get at. There is no perfect metric. You know, we did this last year, we did benchmarking last year, we had, you know, we did that internally, we had 3 different, you know, we used, I think, 3 or 4 different counties. This is superior to that, it's more granular.
Right.
I mean, you all did that by yourselves. This is, it was done
We
externally.
can't get the data now, so we're
Yeah,
trying to
so,
do this year.
so this is done externally, you know, it's pretty good, and so,
It's decent.
you know, and it helped us a lot yesterday, because instead of like trying to ballpark and, you know, we actually have something to go off of, so to your point, is it a little bit old? I mean, but it's close enough, you know?
What I'm saying, we get to finance, to get really granular for next year, we can actually take this and get this group that actually did this to actually update this.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be that much money, that's why I said we may want to discuss that. That
Yeah,
way
we
we'll
can
give you
discuss
guys
it.
something. I'm not saying
Would-
go on to a salary scale, but it will show you what the market is.
Would we go back and put it in finances budget or in commission budget?
I would either one would be fine. You just gotta determine who's doing commissions budget, who's gonna do the POs out of it, who's gonna run the salary, how do you wanna do that?
Well, I want you to do all the work.
Probably have to go through finance.
I mean, you're the one that would have to do it, there's no one else.
Well, we would
will.
supply their numbers, and we would wanna recruit them to do most of the legwork, because same thing, we don't have staffing, and anytime we do a project, we pull off something best, we pull off something else and it gets pushed back.
Yeah, hey, before we know here, just, well, finally, just want to take a vote to suspend the rules so that we can have these conversations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Well-
sorry, go ahead, I just wanted to be doing this
You're
right.
correct, but, as I'm saying, make sure we're, because you are 7 members, and me as the, I guess, the secretary by law should, do you have to suspend for that, that's what I'm wondering, I don't know, actually.
I don't know, I mean, we
Well, I
just
don't
need to
know.
be able to have these conversations.
I got you.
So I don't want to be.
And I need to finish up my time, because I had to 8:40 and EMS is waiting back there, but I just wanted to go over this since it was passed out midstream.
You have until 9.
Or do I have to 9? I started at 8:40.
Yeah, you got 10 more minutes, take your time.
Okay, but if we have no other questions,
EMS can take some time.
that's what I'm saying, if we have no other questions, you may want to go ahead and start with EMS, because I thought Mr. Haas was back there, maybe, he's not here yet.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, I do have some questions on, the EMS item. So I feel like I shouldn't ask him without him being here. Who else do we have?
So we can discuss any of the other items. Is there any of the small departments, because you've got.
We can do IT, because we had ended IT yesterday, and I think that was one that we could do relatively quickly. We can just knock that one out.
Now, IT, when he sent us up his email, he said, can you put 6% cost of living? So I think we put his cost of living at 5, but he wasn't clear he wanted the additional 6.
Okay.
Y'all can go over it, but-
Well, we've already,
They already went over his
we're just
budget.
gonna, we're just gonna do the adjustments.
They already went over his
And
budget.
then he's already had it.
Okay.
But then he'll get a chance to review it. But I would like to.
Can I ask, with IT being under the mayor, have you reviewed their budget? Do you, I mean, it's under you, do you approve
Yeah,
their
I've
budget?
seen it. Yeah, but I don't have the details on
So you didn't review it in depth?
it. No.
Nobody does. Okay, got it.
So, I think we were doing a pretty good job of this yesterday. So we did the 6%, 5%. But what I'd like to potentially do is take just a look at those salaries and see if they're within market. We're doing it for everybody, and sometimes they're low, sometimes they're high, and we're trying to be fair, so I want to do it with these guys too, even though they didn't ask for it. So, sorry, I'm just coming up here because I can't see it as
I had to
well.
highlight it.
David, are you, can we take a look at some of these? Like, do we have some?
Yes, that's what we're reporting on now.
I can't believe nobody looks at the
Information
detail of these
system,
departments.
it says the average start pay for the information director in 2023,
Well, we're
IT
looking
director
at
was
it.
136,383.
So
Let's get to
we're-
their page
so we're
first.
good.
Hold on, where are we on
On the budget.
the budget pages?
Oh, it would be on page.
It's like A.
47.
47, or what is there?
Yeah, it's like A, is it A18?
For IT, they're pretty column.
15.
A15.
Yeah.
15, all right.
So, then we're in there with him.
Hey, Jessica, if you can find the numbers, and I'll keep looking at these. For the page numbers, because we won't be bunching around at this today. So it's 136, 383, so he's about within
Where
market.
it needs to be.
The next one, you have a network administrator.
That's like your network tech.
That's your network manager, 93, they're going up there. You got a network manager, see at 93.
So we probably need to,
No, go up to 93. Network manager, 93,000 right there.
Okay, they're above.
They're above the start, but as I'm saying, these are the medium for a.
What's the
5
median?
shift. And so you kind of look at their start dates.
81,000.
81, so, I mean.
He's pretty good at that.
He's good, we
Yeah.
just leave him alone.
Database administrator, they don't have, because they don't have the large database is done through us, and we actually outsource it. Then you have an application analyst, IT technician, then he has a user support team, it's 53,602.
So they're close, maybe a little bit of a bump. I mean, that's what we're finding here, is that.
GIS coordinator and GIS technician, which they don't have those. So I think you're.
I think for the technician, these guys might need a little bump, like maybe 1,000 each. The IT technicians, each of those guys probably need 1,000 each, if we're trying to get them a little closer.
Because they haven't been there that long, so they should drop below that medium a little bit.
A little.
So I think probably you're looking, if you brought them 1,000, it should be pretty close.
What is,
So 53 should be a.
I mean, we're just,
7-year
and
person.
I'm not throwing stones here, but we're seeing this several spots, right? Where like, your guys at the head are at, or sometimes it's
way
above.
Way above.
And then the worker bees are, and I'm not throwing stones, I mean, we're just
You
showing,
need
it's
to-
the
you
worker
need
bees
to-
that need
right,
help.
You need to look at the eval dates, because eval dates will tell you how many years. Somebody around 7 years should be tapping toward that median.
So, I mean, I think that's,
7 to 10 years should be
I
tapping
think
the
they
median.
probably appreciate that.
These guys are not.
They're not to the
years, so
median.
they're.
But maybe, there's
They don't
something we
know.
don't understand. I always look at salaries as contribution and what they contribute. Maybe we don't know. I feel uneasy doing this without the budget heads or without them here. I
Well,
mean,
they're gonna get their chance to come, when we did it
Yeah.
yesterday, I'm just trying to
I
be,
know.
I'm just trying to be
but I'm just
even.
saying, if we're putting that there, we don't know what's in on that. I don't know who these people are, but maybe it's a new person, or maybe,
Could be.
Well, they
maybe
got
there's
the
a
date-
reason.
The dates are right there is what I was, that's what
Yeah.
I'm
Been here
saying.
2 years.
But I'm just saying, we don't know. we're just throwing, and maybe they need more, I don't know, I'm just,
I mean, all we can do is kind of use the rubrics that
we don't have good
have.
tools.
All we can do is use the rubrics that we have, and they're gonna get their chance to come in and make their case either direction. I mean, if we're gonna do it with some, which we did,
Oh, I know,
we need to do it with all of them.
and I thought about it, and I was like, oh,
If you're gonna have the 4 hours on the 16th, the ones that call back, we can schedule for a second hearing. That's the way it usually falls.
Are we good with this one?
Just the evaluation.
Before we move to EMS, are we good with this one? All right.
Do you wanna look at their operational? I think it was pretty much,
Yeah, we can look at operational costs. It sounded like Mr. Moss.
I didn't see anything unusual in Robert's budget under the operation.
It is, yes, it is.
He did ask to reduce that yesterday.
So let's reduce it.
We did,
Oh, you reduced it already?
yeah.
Did Robert ask
Oh,
for that?
reduce by
Yes.
50K. I thought it said 50%.
Because I thought if we do reduce one of those, we probably need to ask him, but she said Robert did. 'Cause
Yeah.
those are contracts to run all the way from the Munis application, Chronos, all the way to the network and all the servers.
All right.
And all the virus protections.
at what point were we gonna go back and revisit all the computers that we need to update for the new Windows? Because we said we would talk to
Yeah,
IT. Are we pushing that to the
I think we'll
16th,
push that
or?
to the 16th, because that's in there, but I, like that in this concept.
I mean, that's a big, I don't know how big it is or how many computers we've got. You have the fixed asset
Well,
list.
now,
You have the fixed asset
it's only
list in
for
your
items
pack.
over $5,000.
So we don't know.
If we were tracking,
7,500.
I'm sorry, 7,500, because if we was tracking all of it, we'd have to have a full-time person to have.
Can we ask him for a list before the 16th?
Is that reasonable?
This is the thing you've got, most of the departments buy their own computers. IT handles things such as your servers and your network. They
But he
will
should
provide
be able-
specs to the
But he should
departments.
be able to count it just from getting like a team check on all of his.
He knows how
all
many-
his computers on his network.
He knows
But
how
you
many
have to send somebody
licenses he
down to look at
has.
the actual machine after that.
If they come in and
He
audit,
usually
he's
will
got
see
the
machine,
license.
response and the numbers, but
Yeah.
he's gonna have to actually go and pull up the window to tell what's on it. Go down there and open up the machine.
Let's see if we can, I think.
It could be a big number.
I think it's a fair thing to try.
Can you
we
send
try to do that?
him an
I mean,
email?
If there's a good reason why he can't do it,
Yeah, they wanna know an inventory of machines that need to be replaced this coming.
okay, he's texting.
Or actually, while he's at it, can he give us an inventory of the computers with a check on which ones are replaced, so we know, I mean.
He's texting him now. to try to
Okay,
do it.
Jessica,
To be honest,
come
they
here,
did try the
Susan.
inventory
I'm
with the little
sorry.
tag.
That's okay, they-
He-
Oh,
they do
John
have
was
inventory.
texting.
Another
All
one
right,
of
hey,
those
Terry,
Sorry.
they
Yeah.
got inventory.
I knew they must have, because
So-
they get audited for those licenses all the time.
Well, they also put tags on their machines, but I won't show them much details they don't know.
All right, we ready to do for?
Let me ask one question before we go on. David, this has different job descriptions than Robert's.
Same
Ask
thing
him
I'm
if he
telling
can
you,
bring
this
it.
is the one
If he's
pulled
got
from
it, can he
all.
bring it?
Okay, so he necessarily may not have the
If
same.
he's
You're not
got,
gonna
I just
have all
want to
this
see.
stuff.
Okay.
The only way we're gonna
What
get
if
that is
he
to
has
pay
and
for
what
a
has to
study
be
like we did in
replaced? It should be
22,
a
so that's
long-term
something that we
plan.
discussed.
Okay.
So if you want one that's gonna match
But
up
maybe
with
they don't
their
wanna look at
descriptions
it.
on this,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because these descriptions on the sheets, are the ones we were provided through the salary survey on their
right,
sheets.
okay,
And if they've changed these, then they won't agree there neither, so I
Right.
don't really know.
okay.
But yeah, the only way to really get one is to do a full blind study,
Yeah.
to match it up.
Too time consuming,
Any other questions?
no thanks.
Mr. Pauls? All right, David, what pages are we on here? For the salads,
Ambulance starts on page 68, and he actually has the capital request on page 98, and they have a medical budget we'll get at the end. They've got the salaries on the board, his actual salaries, and I have it right there. That's what's on the table.
page 29, I think.
What's their salary?
Yeah,
on
page
this?
29. Where their salaries are.
Sorry, but I don't have those on the screen, Rob. Don't remember those.
All righty, is everybody following along? Mr. Moss, go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So obviously the biggest challenge that we have in our department right now is compensation for our employees. We're about 20% behind like departments around us. We put in a market adjustment to bring us, where we tried to land was under Metro Nashville Fire Department, but above smaller counties. So we try to line every one of those up as you have here. We put in the fiscal year adjustment. We will still need the COLA on top of that, as other departments around us will be receiving COLAs as well. We did put in for one additional ambulance. We have not added an EMS unit in the county in about 5 years. So that would be the Shackle Island ambulance, and put in staffing for that. In the White House area, we got a couple of maps. Looking to so right here you can see all of our stations. Our biggest trouble area is right in here. Most recently we had a call at Lee Road, Highway 76. We had an 18-minute response time to that with everybody in quarters where they're supposed to be. Take this out, you can see we can cover that area with one ambulance in the White House area. We'll also pick up part of the county that Robertson County is actually covering for us right now. So we put that in the capital. So that's, any questions about the compensation? Yes, sir.
The White House, the 18-minute, that's an area that Robertson
It's
covers.
not, that's an area in the county outside the city limits of White House
Okay,
that
so
we're responsible for.
Robertson only covers the city of White
Inside
House?
the city limits, correct.
Okay.
Did we get a org chart?
Yes, sir, it was emailed with our documents.
So
We
what,
can provide those, I gave them to David, I can get,
can we get?
I'll get, yeah, I'll get it.
I've got, so I'm looking at, I think, Dave, when we were going through this,
I'll put it on the far right that way for your paramedics.
we were going through this, my sense was
Going down.
that my sense was that your request for the,
I'll put that.
for the ALS and BLS, so for
Keep going down.
paramedics and kind of the line folks is actually pretty close. I know it's a good bump, but it's actually pretty close. I am gonna press a little bit on maybe some of the pay around for the supervisor levels though.
Okay.
They're all over. So, just a second here.
You had the hourly rates in there earlier, I
I'm
would have added
having
on.
to
Get some hourly rates. Go
So,
this way, see if you see it.
let him get here.
We're trying to find that hourly rate. Oh, there it is. Hide that one back in bed. These are your hourly rates. If you freeze that paint a little bit, where they can see, go something. Okay, go on down. This will be the hourly rates for like the paramedics and the kids you're asking about. There we go. That's the rate of your paramedics and EMTs.
And I'm gonna put it here, I want you to understand, this is a professional thing, I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing people's performance, et cetera, I'm literally just looking at numbers. So if I look at the EMS director on, the mean of the EMS director, and again, this is the mean of the EMS, or the median of the EMS director, of EMS, that rolls across similarly sized counties, only taking into consideration the large ones. It's at 115,699, and if we do your cost of living, I guess you're already at 127, so you're asking, which is ahead of that, and you're asking to go to 149. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but
Sure.
is there a,
So Montgomery County,
Yeah.
at Montgomery County, that director is making 170. All right, the Nashville Fire Department, my equivalent is 225.
I need to see who's actually responding to this survey.
They're in the front of the page. They're actually.
Yeah, they're on the front page.
In Nashville, they didn't count fire.
Or, I'm sorry, it's 220,580.
That's Nashville Fire.
But
That's correct.
That's for fire.
That's for fire.
No, that's for the EMS director
But that's for EMS director at the.
at the
fire?
Nashville Fire Department.
That's for
They
the
run-
EMS director at the National.
Yeah,
Fire.
that's correct.
So they're, that's a bit, to be fair, that is a bit larger, but, are we saying there's like a lot of variance around here? It just seems to be, because EMS, he would be making twice what this is.
Right.
Okay. Any other items on that one? All right.
Does he have a business, is there a business degree, a master's or something? I mean, what does the Davidson County guy have?
I think that all of our job descriptions are degrees or equivalent experience.
See. Okay.
So I'm trying, you know, maybe this, so I'm looking at shift supervisors, and I could be wrong. Again, I'm really, you know, I could be wrong. Argue with me, you just did, which is fine. I want that. I'm trying to find comparisons here. So, you know, deputy chief, battalion chiefs, kind of these guys, they're at 100 and, you know, between 115 and 126 with all of these raises in there. And I see the average of the, or the median of what the closest thing I can find to it is an EMS shift supervisor. You know, is at 79,000, which is, you know, you guys are, your supervisors are already a bit ahead of that. I understand they're probably very seniors, but you know, I'm trying to reconcile that. And again, I'm not poking. I'm just.
So we have a compression problem within our department, and that's one thing that I addressed here. So a paramedic is going to top out. Right now, they're topping out with our supervisors. So whenever we have promotions, we have honestly little interest due to the pay. You know, there's no reason for anybody to take on more workload if they're not going to be compensated for it. They can work on an ambulance and make the same amount of money. So we're addressing the compression.
So who are the folks who are leaving? Are the folks who are leaving are they your more senior people, or are the folks who are leaving, like, are the folks who are leaving, are they the like leader, you know, the battalion chiefs, that level, or are they the
we have lost that group over the last few years, not just this year, but, you know, we're dealing with a problem here today that has been compounded over 3 or 4 years, or during COVID. So it's smacked us. You know, we're now losing people as hard as we were during COVID by not addressing the pay. So,
and look, I get it. I mean, because I've worked in healthcare, and it's squeezed all across the board. I mean, I understand the issue, but I'm, you know, just trying to like apply this same rubric to everybody, and some of those hopped out. I mean, I have to press. Mr. Klein?
I'm confused about something you just said. Last month, we were way short on our ambulance drivers.
we don't have any ambulance drivers.
I mean,
We have EMTs.
the
and
EMTs,
paramedics.
the
Yes,
EMTs.
Paramedics.
The paramedics, they were the ones who were seriously lacking. Those are the ones you couldn't keep.
yes.
Now they're making too much?
They're making so much, they're bumping their upper people off. You
I didn't
said.
say they were making too much. I said they were making the same as the supervisors.
Okay, so this, you're saying the
A
supervisor?
topped out employee. The ones that we are losing are the younger folks that haven't been here.
Okay.
I have a
We're
question.
having trouble getting the new ones because the start rates.
Do we
is up.
have, and I was just trying to find it in here, do we fund the training? I know you do in-house training. Do we do any of the training at Ball State? Do we fund any of that, or how does that work? And maybe I've asked you before.
So we do tuition reimbursement with a 3-year contract.
That's right, I'm recalling that. So can you go through how the contract works?
So once a paramedic completes their school, they receive their certification, they come to us and they say, you know, it's cost me $9,000. And we reimburse them that money with a 3-year guarantee that they stay with us. If they do not work their 3 years, they pay it back.
100%. Do you do anything else besides fully trained paramedics? I've seen some job listings where actually they're just hiring high school students for $18 an hour to drive the bus, and then they pay as they go for their tuition to train them up to be a paramedic. So we get them on board and train them in-house and send them off to,
So
do you do that?
we're an A+ rated ambulance service in the state, and one way that we keep that is we do not have any drivers. Everybody is certified, so we would not be using anybody that's just a driver.
I'm understanding. I was just thinking we could get more employees in the flow.
Right. We work with
I mean,
we
is
work
that-
with the high school department now. We help with their training to try and get those people on board as quick as we can.
But we don't want to, okay.
Hey, John, what start pay did you put for paramedics in here?
This is 2204, I believe.
Is it 2250 or
2204 comes to
Oh, that
mind.
was 2250, okay.
Or maybe with the COLA, it'd be about 2250.
2250, and if you look 2000, and I know this counts Davidson, Metro, and everybody, this is in 2023, your average paramedic started at, I'm sorry, their mean was 2301, so, and the thing is, there's a lot of compression everywhere, so it's going to require something near that mean to pull them in, so.
That was good, when we were looking at this a couple days ago, when I'm looking at yours, it looked to me like the market adjustments that you had for your paramedics, and your, EMTs were pretty close, like at least, kind of around there. It was just the ones above that I had to press on.
What's your EMT start rate you put in there?
1863.
Now you,
We can pull it all up. I can show you guys the comparisons.
if you look at your AEMT back in 2023, it was 1772 for the median, but you gotta remember, we've passed by 2 years now.
Yeah,
And you're saying how much, 18?
1868.
So if you do 1863 minus 1772 and divide, that's a 2-year spread, which I don't think
I know it's, so you're also asking, well, let me, before we go into the new ones, are there any other questions on the current employee salary from everybody?
How much?
1860.
How much is our overtime?
How much?
Yeah, I was just looking for it. I thought maybe I could ask.
I
Just
don't.
looking for the line.
It's on that line.
It's
over there.
back there.
Is it under the holiday schedule?
It's above the holidays.
So when you talk about overtime, our employees are required to work overtime to fill the 24/48 shift. That's mandatory overtime.
So they're 5.4% above what the median was back in 2023.
So 3
Well, that's
million
median, that's
to
the start to
overtime.
median too, so it takes 5 to 7 to get there, so when you take it's only a 5% increase, and there's been a lot of inflation, and the median, it's probably pretty
I
low.
guess I'm the only one that sees that.
I think it's, that's what I was looking at, looked close to me, but, and me and him looked at some of the numbers from these others currently, so those numbers look pretty close. On the paramedics and EMTs, I can't speak on the others. And all I looked at was paramedics and EMTs.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
So,
I didn't look at anybody
let
else.
me move real quick to so how many new paramedics, so what are you asking for now?
3 paramedics and 3 AEMTs for our ALS division. And that will be to staff an ambulance at our headquarters now, 24 hours a day. We moved that one out. Gallatin is our busiest area due to the growth in the county. We try to keep our unit utilization below 30%, and all the Gallatin units are running 28 to 30% right now.
Let me ask you, so you're asking for, basically a new parking station?
Well, we have the station, we have the ambulance, we just need the staffing for it.
Got it. Yeah, to man them.
Correct.
So let me ask, what's your loss ratio look like for what we're collecting? I'm looking at the revenue side now.
So our revenue, maybe just walked out, but we are above projections right now.
But what's your loss ratio, like for all claims submitted, what percentage of that are we not collecting?
I would have to pull that up.
Because I know that there is a problem with, generally speaking, with claims collection for,
I met with our third-party billing company last month, and we are above all benchmarks for anyone like us right now. So we're doing everything that we can to bring that in. This year, we'll probably hit about 9.4 million back in revenue.
yeah, I mean, I would be very interested to know, any third party is gonna tell you that you're above benchmark, if you've outsourced. And again, I know I'm pressing here. I'm just, look, we have these needs, and I'm not arguing on some of these, maybe some of them, but I'm trying to figure out how to get the revenue up. And so loss ratio is important here. So we talk to these guys, have we dug in with them?
And if we're losing any revenue, it's not because we're not doing something. The problem is, we bill out insurance, we bill out to patients, they're citizens in the county, and we can send it to debt collection. We can.
How is the process of this? I'm actually really interested in this. How are
So-
we going to capture?
All right, so what we do to keep things up is we try to bill day for day. All right, so we make a call today, tomorrow it's going to the billing company. They're staying about 3 to 4 days within us. All right, so if we're the first ones to get the bill out, we get the first insurance money in before the hospital, before the doctors, everybody else sends it out. So we're very quick on that. But once the insurance pays whatever is required of the patient, we can't go after the patient anymore. All right, you can't put that on a personal credit report.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that. I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking about the follow through itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do we have, like, so I go to I think I owe the dentist bill actually right now, so, I'll get like a text message. Does that happen? Somebody uses service, is there a follow through for like, hey, does that billing company do that? And I know I'm probably on
If I'm looking
I
at
would
this,
just-
and I'm looking at
I would really like to see.
So they go after,
Their budget.
yeah,
Where
they
would
go
I find the
after
overtime
the
in
insurance
this
companies
category?
and facilities. Patients, not so much, just because it is what it is, as far as putting it on credit report.
What is the commission for the debt collection?
I'm sorry?
What is the commission for the debt collection?
So-
What do they ask?
Oh, so actually we reduced that this year from 4.25% to 4%. Yes.
Sorry, I know I was.
What is the loss that our EMS operates at, like 3%?
Well, I think it's been about the same for several years. I think it's like 60. Beth, if you click on the revenue sheet, and then there's one we track that for years.
They're always operating at a loss, so.
Yeah, because you've got certain things that contribute to that could be Medicare rates are
Yeah, I'm just trying to see
calculated,
total
Medicare,
claims
go down
not
to
paid.
AMS charges, inpatient charges. And then, I think it's over here, before we keep that sheet, it's on another sheet.
Sorry.
Oh, here we go. If you look, and there's some notes over here, go to the right, because this is very important, because it'll look like they've changed. Back here, health insurance expense was not put into the fund, into their department. So it's gonna make that ratio look better. So if you start here down, you can kind of look, the ratio's been fairly consistent. I think that's during COVID maybe, because COVID, a lot of people wouldn't ride. So
What happened for 2024?
which one?
40%.
Where we
That's
at?
when you had in the buildings, and all of that's been taken back out. You were gonna do some construction, so that's also.
So we're losing about.
You're
30%.
losing about, and these years are a little worse because I think the COVID started
All this says is that we're consistently
Dispatch.
someplace in
Dispatch
time.
moved out.
We could be really good, we could be really bad, but we're consistent.
Well, yeah, but what that tells me is we're losing.
Oh, that's what happened. In
a
18,
third of our
dispatch
claims.
actually,
Correct.
dispatch actually.
No,
moved-
that's not claims. This
Dispatch
is,
moved out
because
in
this is
18.
expenditures too.
They
It
used
could
to
be
do that.
supply expense, electricity could go up. It's not just
Well,
billing.
The reason they've improved on their ratios, wait a minute, this is 70% recovered.
So is it with Terry's point?
Well, it's gotten maybe over time
Let
a
him
little
finish
less
this and then I'll bring it back to
because
it.
dispatch moved out over here and it was
So-
employees.
The question that Mr. Schoaf and I are talking about is, I'm saying that this difference could be the electricity bill goes up. This isn't just billing.
This is not
isn't
just paid
billing.
claims, this is not.
This
just-
is expenditures.
This is your total expenses
Expenses.
compared to the total
So
revenue.
it's a bigger-
So
It's all in there.
Yeah.
This is all expenses compared to all revenues, and you gotta remember.
Well, so that actually means that would tell me that our claims.
We can't see claims
Well, yeah, but you can.
in there,
but you
really.
can extrapolate that it's actually better than that.
There's a
Because
couple.
that's throwing all the operating
Well,
costs.
don't know.
There's a
It's
couple of
just in
things
there.
that's pushing this. Your Medicare rates are
The
limited.
expenses are only gonna.
The amount that we charge is limited by Medicare. And then the other thing is the quicker you want the response, the more outlying stations you have to have. So to decrease this number, there's a couple of things into play. One, I think we've got our fees maximum, aren't they, to Medicare right now?
Yeah, we're running about 175% of Medicare.
So I think that's the maximum we're allowed to charge. I think we're pretty close. So really another contributing to that would be the number of these outlying stations you have to slow down.
Can we make apples to apples for just a moment and take out E, F, and G, and then see how we flow? I don't want you to delete them.
We'll just hit
But
delete
can we
on
just
and
take them
undo.
out and make Apple,
Just hit
the
delete and
capital?
undo. Well, the capital used to be in the regular budget, so we could put it there, but just click right here and hit delete that, and then.
You want to take, I want to see
Let's
capital
just highlight
out
these
too.
and delete and hit.
Can we
okay.
take E also?
Which one's E?
Capital?
Capital, yeah, because
You
that's,
want all of these?
yeah. 'cause
Yeah, just
I
for a
see what she's
minute.
trying to do, just for a second, because we're gonna see what happens over here.
Huh. But the ARPA's actual pay, so you probably don't want to remove that.
Okay, so put the ARPA back and pull the
Just
others.
pull the capital and, delete that one and delete that one and leave the pay in there and see what you look. You look more.
Little
This year
better,
here's
little-
been
a little
worse,
better.
but, well, this is percent recovered by fees. The lower the number, the worse it is.
No, right, but most of them look like they got better.
So where
But
we're
if you look, it
at,
kind of, after we take out health, it kind of went to 65 and you're back here at 66. So it's really 65, 65, 66,
It's about-
70
it's
that
about
year.
so,
it kinda
and what I want to
varies.
come back to is one of the items that we've talked about continuously, and I ask you what your expenditures
there.
are off your revenue. It's the column I there that I'm always talking about. I know we've talked about it in health and emergency a
That's your
lot.
net difference right there.
The net difference,
Okay.
that's what I'm asking for every month.
But do remember
And we-
these right here are skewed because health insurance didn't used to be.
That was a
in there.
long time ago. I
Right,
don't care
and then
about 10 years ago.
18, there's a little skewing because some of their cost was actually moved over to.
So, for right now, with everything fully loaded in there, we're at a loss of 11 million. I mean,
Well,
I know we
that's
got
if
capital and all
We built that
that.
building, but they're not building all these right now, I don't think.
No.
Well, we may, I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's your all-in
The,
cost.
okay. The ARPA funds is the Westmoreland station and the ambulances that were approved back in March.
Yes.
I know we're digging into this a bit. I would be very interested to see our actual claims loss and claims loss ratio. I would just be, because we kind of got a little bit of a proxy for it there, but I would be really interested to see what that is.
Do you want it
What's
month over month?
billed,
Because I would.
Yeah, I would want to see it month.
Like
over
the
month.
last
No, it's 2 years,
month over month?
month over month.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
I think they
Yeah,
produce
should-
that
Your
report.
company should be able to produce that.
His billing company.
The billing
gives it to us.
report.
Well, he gives it to us every year because we use it to produce the amount of receivables we think are collectible.
Yeah.
But I don't have it month over month.
Yeah, because you
But
do
they
that. If you do that, you have, I remember seeing that in our, sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Well, this takes it to a bigger question in my thinking. What is our expectation for the taxpayers? Do we expect to work at a 30 to 40% loss every year? Or should we try to do something so that it's net neutral?
Do you want us to benchmark them to other counties? No way to tell, because net neutral, I don't know if it's possible without cutting stations out.
Well,
I don't think net neutral is
No,
possible.
it's not possible.
But I think we should see where we're at, because we're sitting here, we don't know if we're to the good of everybody else, or how efficient are
We
we?
started benchmarking, but the problem we run into is two things. One, getting data from county, we can get it off audit reports and various things, but then you end up with apples to oranges comparisons. We have to be very careful. Rutherford for county, for instance, is running a proprietary fund, which means they run it just like a business, so they put depreciation and all their expense in there, including, one year they actually showed it breaking even, but I've got to go back and look, they may not be including something, I don't really know.
I just
And
watched
I
them
usually
do
don't
a
see that.
report on their EMS in
How
their
much is,
proprietary.
what's their percentage? 'Cause
I was
it
so,
was a
I was
varying,
so
but-
admiring their whole presentation, I can't tell you the
But I
number.
pulled Montgomery and their percentage of recovery was much lower, but it didn't include all their capital, so we have to go ask them and try to see if we can get it. And just like our offices, these offices are all busy. They try to be cordial to us, but they're not always the best response because we're not their number one priority. Theirs is to do their work. So we're running into the problem. The benchmarking is very useful for us, but we're having issues. That's why it's not in your report now. We're having issues of getting the data, and we're spending more and more time trying to get the data and harder time to get the
I don't
data.
see that this is gonna be, like, you're gonna break even on this, and I'll tell you why. So one.
I don't expect to break
Yeah,
even.
well, one, you can't go, Mr. Foster kind of mentioned this, there's no really good way, there's a reason that loss ratio is probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's around 30%, but what, I always ask, like, what's the hammer do you have? Like, you can't, you try to go after a patient for it, like, if they don't have it, you can't actually get their credit for it, and there are good reasons for that, so like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're like, okay, you owe me $10,000, and they're like, so what? What are you gonna do about it? And there's literally nothing they can do, so like, that right there will make it such that I don't ever see us operating net neutral.
I'm not expecting to necessarily. What I don't know is, as a county, what is the expectation? What should we be expecting?
And can I ask a
Can I put out one
question?
more
I know before we had talked about it, and you said, and we talked about the two other EMS that compete in the state. When I was looking on Indeed to see how much ambulance drivers make and stuff, I found other, it looked like, and it's been a couple weeks. I found other entities that are also providing ambulance services here in our county. How many ambulance companies are competing against us?
Well, it's not a competition, it's two different businesses. All right, so we are the 911 provider. We're responding to emergencies. That's our primary goal.
And none of them do that.
They do not do that.
So they would be like,
We used to
if
do
you
that.
have
I know.
like a nursing home.
Right,
They'll
and
have
that's what
their-
our convalescent division does now, and that does help bring our revenue way up, because whenever we make those convalescent calls, they're scheduled, they get pre-authorized.
A lot more consistent.
That's right, they're pre-authorized, pre-scheduled transports, so we know we're getting the Medicare, the TN care money, the insurance money back from them, from those.
So
Well, they
that's-
make money, we may need to pull those back.
They make money.
Well, the commission voted.
Because if they're making money, we probably want to pull those off.
Did you?
Who wants to operate here?
Well, I've been trying to find that out. I can't find that
Oh, the
out.
commission voted to eliminate that. The previous EMS director asked us to stop doing
At one time, and then it went
I
back.
don't
So-
think that's,
We can't kick everybody out, but what we do is we're a closed county, so everyone has to license their ambulances in our county. They have to have a brick and mortar building, and they have to report to us.
I think
So,
it's
and
under
then
our
that's mainly
control.
for
No,
the
it is.
standard of
We-
care.
I do. I don't
To
know
know what their
where-
training
We can
is.
take
That's
it
what-
back.
Yeah.
We gave up that control, so we give up that money, yes.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's also. I
And they
mean,
must be doing it at a loss because they keep
What-
opening shops.
we got a lot, but to be fair here, I mean, you're also starting to talk and say, hey, you can't provide a service in a county, which that's illegal. Like what,
Oh, I don't think so. I think there's
Yeah,
several
like-
counties that
I
do
think there's
that.
several closed ones, I think.
well, we are.
We are closed.
We are closed.
But I think
No,
they're
we're
closed,
open.
Period.
No, there's nobody out there doing every
They're not doing
ambulance
it all.
call in their county. Absolutely not.
Just doing
We
great.
couldn't keep up with it in our own county with our
We
staff.
were doing it.
We used to do it green and.
All right, so
Because of the stop.
So, I know and this is good, I mean, I knew there was gonna be some pressure on this one, so, I don't wanna stop the conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
Try to get back.
Do you know how much it
Something-
costs Knox County?
That may have skewed these numbers too. They used to be able to several years
Versus
ago
11.
report failure to pay on your credit.
Yeah.
And that will stop, so that is gonna make your loss
That's
ratio.
right.
Same reason the hospital now, if you go down there, will offer you a discount to pay on the spot. Because we have assets, but they don't go try to get them, they really get their cash up front.
That's right.
So they did take a hit on that, and so did their court systems. And that's been, what, about 4 years
Yeah,
ago, maybe?
that's about right.
So that did skew your numbers a little bit, and collectability went down because of that.
I just want to be clear to the whole table that my thinking is the greater we can increase our revenue, the more we can decrease our losses, the more net neutral it will become. So that was my only reason in asking the question. I don't expect to ever get it zero,
Yeah, got it.
but the closer we can get to that, the more money we can give everybody who works at EMS, so that everybody's happy and making a good living. That's my objective. It's not,
No, I understand.
We do have a delinquent collection company involved too. There's actually 2 still in the Fox, and the other one,
Just Fox,
Just Fox.
EMSMC, and AMB, we still have a
So
few
there's two.
accounts with.
two for delinquent collections. That does.
Just one. Fox.
Just one now. So we do have a delinquent collection company that does go after folks if it's economically viable at all. But if they have no money, you can't put it on their credit, you can't get it back.
Then I think we passed a resolution last year, what is it, 7 years, that we write it off.
Yeah, we have like $10 million that you're never gonna be able to collect because people weren't worth anything, you're building on the books, a lot of
Oh,
accounts.
yeah.
We need
So,
to do
yeah,
something with
you're-
that.
Well, we kind of started talking about that.
So we took most of it
So
off.
we do, but, Mr. Isabel, let's go back up here. I mean, look, I'm happy to go a little over on this one because it's one that could use some time. But,
Page 98.
it would make sense to go to capital projects and just talk about this medical exam, maybe flipping that order.
Medical don't have much in it.
Medical-
Medical examiners flow through fees that they use to receive from the state to pay for training.
What page is capital project? What's the-
97. So 98, actually.
Not 98.
Mr. Foss, could you go ahead and give us an overview of what you're requesting here?
For the capital expenditures?
Yes.
All right, so
Must be on the wrong page again.
What do we have over
98?
here?
90.
The only changes that we made from what we've had marched out for the last few years is our ventilators. Our ventilators are pre-COVID ventilators. They have they've become obsolete. They're no longer supported. We can't get them worked on. We would normally buy 4 cardiac monitors. We dropped that down to 2 and replace that for the replacement of our 5 ventilators that we keep at the hospitals to transport those patients. So what else do we have here?
Stretchers.
That's just typical replacement every year. We have to rotate those out.
So the question, I think, I know I had, and Jeremy just was asking me about it, is what facility are you talking about here with the EMS construction?
That's the White House station.
White House?
Yes.
You know, a timeline, like when they want to start getting that going, the new construction
We need that station today.
today?
Yes.
So you kind of want to get it.
Absolutely. We need to get moving on that. I mean, that area is growing so fast. Robertson County, they're doing a great job covering part of our county up there. But that's about 30, 40 transports a month that we could get back and take care of our own people and fix the problem like I was saying earlier, Highway 76 and Lee Road. We're 18 minutes away from there.
So they're gonna move out of White House altogether? You say get back? Those are,
So right now we have
we're
an
gonna get
agreement.
back, are they gonna move out of White House?
They're not gonna move out. They're still gonna be there to cover their side of the White House. So White House.
We're just gonna move them out of
our.
our Sumner County side. We're gonna tell them, don't come over to Sumner County.
Nope, we're
Stay
gonna
over
call
there.
them anytime we need them, and they can call us anytime that they need us.
So we're duplicating services,
It's not
It's a
duplicating
reciprocating.
services.
reciprocating.
Mutual aid comes in. So let me ask, what is it, how many personnel would need to staff that?
It'd be 6 people.
So you're gonna have, how quickly would something like that come online, do we think?
It would not be this budget year.
So, well, would it be next year? Hopefully, I think it would be next year, we'd have $1.7 million, I mean, maybe. Okay.
That's gonna determine those additional ambulances will be needed for this one.
So, yeah, that's the next question I had. So is order the ambulance you're
No
requesting here,
additional people.
do they go?
We're not requesting any new ambulances in this.
You've got a few spares.
When he said ambulance, he meant peoples when he was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so I just want to be super
What's the
clear.
total cost?
The 6 people that you are requesting now,
So we don't have to
and
buy
you've already
them.
said this, they are not.
Ask him if we have to buy them
That's not the
before.
service this.
That's correct.
See, this
That's
is
the service
24.
development.
We buy them
That's
in
right.
next year's
Jeremy wants to know
budget,
the
not
total
this one.
cost for those 6 people.
Would that be
He
right?
Well, he's asking for 12 people.
Is
It
it
will
12?
be.
That'd be right.
Well,
We don't have
Eventually,
to
yeah.
buy them this
I mean,
year.
Go over there and-
we're about 3 ambulances down right now. So one in this year's budget, hopefully I
What
know
does
one
it
the
cost?
next year with the new
Cost
station.
for a total
We're
of
gonna-
6.
A team.
I'm guessing closer to
She's gonna go get it
$8.
right.
A team.
Yeah, a
We'll
team.
find the 6 new pools some.
And their percentage of overtime, don't forget, their percent of the,
We also.
We can get it in.
Overtime. You also have to pull the overtime line.
because that's another piece of this that we're not looking. Because right now we got $3 million in
There's
overtime.
3,
So I'm just
and then there
saying you
should
want
be
their
that 3
usual
more than
salary
3,
plus their
that's
piece
6
of
overtime.
overtime.
I know it's at least $1 million.
More.
I think it was about 3 something for just those 6, not the other 6, or the utilities research.
What's your response time up there,
Up where?
at White House?
So we do not cover the city limits of White House right now. Robertson County is responding there.
So we don't do any up there at all?
We do not do inside the city limits, but right next to the city limits, in the unincorporated area, we're responsible for it. That's what I'm saying.
What's your response?
18, 20 minutes, yeah.
Where is the station at outside of White House? Can we see it on the map?
The new location proposed?
No, the one
or-
that's there.
The one that's there, it's White House City Park.
What's your goal sorry, what's your goal target time?
8 minutes. 8 minutes is national standard, yes.
8 minutes is TOT.
Yes.
And Robertson won't come out of the city limits at all?
They will if we ask them to, but the agreement is that there's just everything inside the city limits. That's what they're the primary responder.
Is that what we do in Portland? We don't go over, it's past Portland's,
We
I
cover the
guess.
city limits of Portland.
And we won't go outside of it over to Robertson, unless they ask. Do they ever
specifically
ask?
for.
It's about The cost of the 6 people are $599,770 what's budgeted. That includes
Overtime?
benefits, salary, overtime, extra
That's
holiday
just those
pay.
6 people. That includes the building, the maintenance, the
That's just the
ongoing
6.
administration.
So 600,000 a team. Okay.
Well, that doesn't even.
That's
that
a brand,
doesn't-
that's based on brand new.
That's not the cost of running. That's just the
Does
cost.
that cover when they're on
Right,
vacation?
just
when
the
we
team.
can't
Yeah,
cover
that's a
it?
holiday. And yeah, that's what
Don't we have to have extra people in to cover those shifts?
That's why there's overtime. That includes overtime. That's an all-in buy cost for the whole
I'm
purpose.
just saying.
Did White House call and say they wanted one?
We'll have to see how these capital projects work out. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Voss?
White House didn't want one.
Thank you, sir.
He's talking about
I
unincorporated,
missed it, is there?
He's talking about what?
Deadline to
unincorporated county.
get this set up with White House, like, is the land given, I was given this, given to us by the school?
Yeah, the land will be granted by the schools to.
But he can't cover it.
So they're not.
There's no
they're not-
timeline.
Not sooner than an 18-minute turnaround.
Do you know where it's
All right.
at?
Any
It's
other
outside
questions, Mr.
Miller's
Voss?
house.
Can I see that? I still want to see that. Where is the Emmett where's the closest one to White House?
The closest ambulance currently.
Yeah.
So we respond from, this is backwards.
Robertson County got one right downtown.
Yeah, they
Robertson County does have one. It is their busiest ambulance,
Mhm.
and it is often not there. So they only have, I think, 6 ambulances total. So whenever they're responding into our county, it's putting a little bit of a burden on them as well. So Station 11, 42. So here's White House, Station 11. This is the Shackle Island Station. They respond up to this area. The Millersville ambulance, they respond over here. And then actually to right here where the WH is for White House, this ambulance is the closest one.
What about
by
the
time.
Cottontown? Isn't there one, isn't Joe?
We do not have an ambulance.
We don't
in
have an
Cottontown.
ambulance in Cottontown?
That will be a future location. that
Yeah, I would
we
think.
need.
I would think.
But right now.
Where is
this-
Cottontown, if you were to put a dot there?
Here?
That would be the closest
Yeah,
if we had one there.
absolutely.
Okay, my mistake.
There's Highway 25, so right about there.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Voss? Thank you for bringing the visuals. and-
Yeah, the maps are great.
And being well prepared. Okay.
EMA is on page 63 for operational, 98 for capital,
Mr. White.
and Ms. Browning will put it on the board.
We are. 63.
Yeah, page 63, and she's gonna put his salaries on the board.
Right.
And let me see, do you need the A number? Jessica, can you provide this A number? For EMA, Jessica provided that number. Right there. Just look at it.
827.
A27.
Good morning, Mr. Minor. It's been a while. How are you? Good. It's nice to see you.
See ya.
Nice you're not here saying it's a tornado.
Go ahead.
Okay, so most everything is the same as it has been in the past. There is an increase in insurance, and we are requesting a position or 2. My staff is sitting here, my entire staff is sitting right behind you there. So we've got 3 staff members. We do have some part-time members. And day-to-day operations, obviously different from what we've had since December, the December tornado and the Sebastian surge. And, so we are kind of up and down in regards to how busy we are, although there is a lot of need for operational duties as well as planning duties. So those are the positions we requested. And it seems like any year that we ask for a position, it's not the right year, and we just keep waiting for the right year to try to increase our staff. We don't need a large staff, but if you do benchmarks and you look at other emergency managers across the state, for example, Rutherford County has 6 full-time personnel. They are just a little bigger than we are, but they do basically the same thing we do. So So that would be probably the biggest thing in regards to staffing. I would ask if we could remove the grant funding. There's a small portion that funds my deputy director and my administrative assistant. I'd really like to see that just stay in grants and put county funding towards that in case that grant ever experiences problems and we have to try to find that money. So at some point I would like to cover that in county funding. It's not a lot. And then for capital, we're trying to replace an 08 F-450 that is subject to respond anywhere in the county, anywhere out of state. The 450s we have been to different places across the nation. The last time they deployed was to South Carolina. So they're subject on an EMAC request to go to Texas, Florida, South Carolina, anywhere that a disaster that requires EMAC assistance. Those are reimbursed. We get money back for that. But we've got an older diesel F-450 we'd like to replace. Our drone program has grown so strong that we really need to start updating drones. We've asked for some money for drones. And then we've got two older outboard motors that aren't really a priority, but we're going to need to start looking at replacing those sometime in the future. Yes, sir.
The 454, what year did you say it was?
It's an 08 with a 6.4 diesel in it.
Okay. Is there regulation on how old those can be before you have to get rid of them? No. So how many miles does that thing?
That one's got around 89,000. Yeah.
89,000. Are they hard running miles?
They're pulling a big trailer, heavy trailer.
Okay.
Typically running hard to calls or to other states. So.
Okay. Are they burning oil or anything?
No, we do good to maintain.
Yeah, you know your mechanics are great.
Yeah.
I'm just curious how worn out they are.
I just don't. I don't want to take off to Texas and the problem with that particular truck's got the 6.4 diesel in it.
Mm-hmm.
They have been taken care of. It's a stock motor, hasn't had any work done to it, which is good. I'm just waiting for something big to happen to it, and it costs a lot of money to replace the motor.
In replacing that truck, what do you do with the old one?
Probably go to another department.
Okay.
So the last one that we did 2 years ago went to the sheriff's office to their motor. It's going to pull a motor trailer. So.
Okay. But it's less emergency. Its uses are less emergency than it is right now.
Reliability is not needed as much.
They're subject to run every day. Swift water calls, it pulls a 28-foot trailer with all our swift water gear in it. So they're subject to respond if we have swift water flooding now. Yeah.
So the emergency level is the same.
It's the same.
In where you
yes,
move it on to. Okay.
Your maintenance and repair equipment is an increase of 2,543%. What is going on there? That's the radio.
That is put in there, and I don't know what they did last year in regards to what line that went into. David, can you help me with that? That is the maintenance and repair of the radio equipment, which comes back to us.
It's historically been in your budget, but last year you requested to break it out into all the other departments.
Yeah.
This year you request to put it back here because.
Yeah, I don't know where it's supposed to go, and I didn't want to leave it hanging out there. So.
Okay, so then it's in there twice.
Yeah, if it needs, Jeremy, that's what that is. That comes back to us.
Well, we also need to look at the revenue because we didn't get final numbers on that until like April 18th, so it was past the deadline and we didn't have enough time to change. We need to look at all of that together probably this evening and see if we can sort all that stuff.
So on that, I invoice all the other departments in the county, and that comes back to us, and that's all, it gets reimbursed every year.
Well, for what your department doesn't, for what the sheriff and EMS, and they get billed through their department.
Yeah.
We get reimbursed for what the cities and
every public safety agency in the county, schools, highway, and drug task force.
And then the fire departments get paid out of that extra fire department money you got. They've requested us to pay.
Not this year.
They've requested that, but that would be another increase for them.
Yeah.
They've requested the county to pay what they've been paid out of that. So the increase they have is in addition to you guys paying the fees. Which that's just a request.
So that fee for the county fire has been coming out at 138,000.
About $40,000.
The fire chiefs voted this year for them to
Later.
use that money as they saw fit, and they're gonna have to either pay for it out of their budgets or request that funding.
So they're asking you guys for another 40 the way they can spend the 138.
The fire department? Okay. Well, we'll deal with that when we have the fire department.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, Ken,
This
so,
might be double up there.
question, you know, I'm mostly looking at salaries here. Yours is actually $3 off what the median is, so no problem with that one, I don't think. I guess what I would ask here is if you had to choose between the operation, let me roll this back. I'm not saying, you know, we necessarily get either one. Our priorities this year, which I've said several times, are making sure that stopping any loss and making sure that its current personnel are at market. That's what we've really been focused on. So we're looking at current personnel first and then expansions. But assuming, so no promises, but assuming, you know, there's room for it, if you had to choose, which of the two would you choose?
Operations or planning?
Go plan.
Yes.
Planning.
Planning.
Planning, okay. Okay.
I have a question. When I must be, maybe I'm reading it wrong or there's a number wrong. It's showing that your deputy makes more than you do.
That's because the request was put into that. The requested additional position was put into that line.
Oh.
As is the administrative assistant.
It's two people.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, I
Yes.
got you.
Yeah, he called me and he said, hey, I appreciate the raise, but it's not, it's that request.
We got limited line items you can use from the state.
But you'll take it.
So if we put that many line items, the budget would be so big.
No, I just wasn't
Yeah,
thinking
that's
that.
what
So
that
it's
is.
gonna be two, oh, so we can only have deputy directors, and clerical, we can't have staff?
That line's just not in there.
There's other lines, but there's not, there's a limited amount of lines at the same time. If you look at the size of that budget document, if we go in there and break every person out to every little position.
I
you're gonna have
understand.
like this-
That's why we asked for the org chart, so I could
You got a 700
understand.
page document.
I just don't have it.
Any other questions for Mr. White?
An org chart.
I can do one, I did not, no. We've been a little busy, I really hadn't had time to build any charts, so, yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. White?
I have one.
Oh, go ahead.
On other charges, I'm just curious, I mean, it's pretty much the same across the board, but what would that,
The other charges are our mass notification system, Code Red. Is that right, Carla? Yeah, Code Red, mass notification.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate your time.
I think Terry, that's.
Alrighty,
I just thought we could it later. I'm not allowed to talk about detail. I already got that.
Thank you.
You may want to ask him what I was in the insurance place. Hey, Matt.
Well, no,
She had questions about Ken's insurance. On
Oh,
what I was in there.
we have a question on your insurance.
What all was included in the insurance? What else it covered?
Vehicles, portable equipment, accident and sickness for our volunteers.
So how much, I think her question is how much of it's to insure equipment and how much is insured?
I can break that, I can send that to you.
How much is to do with to cover your volunteers versus the equipment? Because generally we.
Well,
self-insure
the problem with the
equipment.
equipment is they can't drive vehicles under our insurance, is what I've been told.
Volunteers.
Yeah,
Is that what the insurance told you?
that covers them on that too. Yeah. I've been told our volunteers can't drive our equipment under county insurance.
What's our liability? I mean, does it cover it under your, do you have enough insurance? Now, I got a whole nother,
Well, actually,
do we have,
it'll take.
do we have adequate
We'll do work after this one.
He's-
liability insurance? Have you reviewed it?
On his?
No, if it's our county vehicle
Uh-huh.
and the volunteers have additional insurance to cover their liability,
That's with us. We buy it.
we buy it. So I'm asking you, are we got enough?
That's a matter of opinion. That's kind of more big micromanaging Ken. We
Well,
can send it to
Ken-
risk management. Get them
We look at it.
I
we
mean,
look at
does it
the-
go through risk management? Kim
No.
White got it with, does it?
No.
He's just bought it based on judgment. He
So-
can send you a copy of it. Can you?
This just came up, if I could if I
She's on the
could
insurance
pull
board.
y'all in to discuss it.
So us
We
being-
just want Kim to make sure that we have enough.
Well, for us, for example, we take several lightning strikes over the course of 5 or 6 years, and $297.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that.
No,
It's- I wanna make sure we're covered.
$297,000 lightning strike costs us $250.
So here's the deal, we have different insurance if it's our county employee
Yeah.
opposed to the volunteers. I wanna make sure we're covered, because that's a big risk.
Since she's she's the chair, I think you're the chair of the insurance board.
That's the only
Could you
reason
just
I'm all
email it to
interested.
Jessica and we can
Sure.
put it on
We
that
just add
agenda
that to your.
We can add the agenda for
Yeah,
Tuesday.
let's
Yeah,
do
that's,
that.
that's all I wanna do.
It's for
I just want Kim
Hey, and while
to make
we're at
sure
it,
we
Jerry,
have
can-
enough.
Can we also add to that, the questions I was asking about, recovering, like loss ratio from EMS, because I mean, that's an
That wouldn't-
insurance.
No, that wouldn't be
It's not
there.
our insurance.
That could be
Well,
financial.
I know
No, it's
well,
not
we'll do
ours.
financial management, we'll do financial management, all right.
Which would be.
So a side note of that, our Swift Water team was on Ohio River training, and we destroyed one of our inflatables, and it's gonna cost $250 to replace a $3,500 raft, so.
Could you just send, because I'm gonna tell Kim and she's gonna, can you reach out to her and just tell her
I'm
to?
gonna send that to Jessica. Yeah,
Thank you,
Jessica does the
Jessica.
agenda. She does the agenda.
Any other questions for Ken?
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am?
We do most of the agendas.
All righty.
Do we have a stop loss on it?
So we're gonna do
Mr.
this
Long,
one,
you
then we're
don't
gonna
know.
do a break.
8:30.
You're on page.
I'm fearful now.
72.
If a volunteer's driving our county
She's on page
truck,
number
to
six.
kill a
He
big
said-
family.
He said they couldn't drive.
No, they can drive it. And he
And
has a
her,
different insurance
requests are on the
policy.
board.
We don't know.
And I think there is a new request for new employees.
Personnel,
so
yeah.
that- Yep.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
All right. we
oh,
have a
libraries
couple of-
again.
I'm sorry? Okay. We have a couple of requests for new employees, one being a children's services librarian. Our stats from the state, we've grown substantially as far as our programs and what we're offering for our community last year. And our total number of circulation, so how many transactions we did, according to state reporting, was around 180,000. This year, we're at 318,000. We've moved from 50 programs a month to 159. So our reach into the community has grown substantially. With that, with the children's services librarian, we're trying to keep our ratios of adults and children within the same area to be a little bit more controlled. They're getting a little overrun. Adult services librarian, we technically don't have anyone who's functioning in that position to handle all the adult programming. This has become a thing that whoever is available is having to jump in and do it. For instance, last night I needed to be here with other librarians, but I had to work till 8 p.m. We just don't have enough staff to cover currently. There are 2 part-time positions that I'm asking for. One is just a floater for those times that our full-time people are sick, on vacation, or out. The second one, we're looking to hire specifically for janitorial. Currently, we're using a contract with an outside service. It's costing around $25,000 a year. They only come once a week. With the numbers that I've told you how busy our building is, we really need this more than that. By having a part-time person and hiring them in at that basic $13 an hour, performing 20 hours a week, we can save around $8,000 and roll that into custodial, kind of giving that a wash. It also creates an environment where the person who's doing the cleaning is actually invested in doing a good job. And since we are very much a public face, we're trying to keep things as neat and sanitary as we can. That's all we're asking for as far as personnel.
How many part-time people do you have?
Currently, we have 12. 10 of them work around 25 hours. 2 of them are seasonal and only come in for holidays, fall break, spring break, or summertime. They're both college kids. Yes, sir.
You said you didn't have an adult services librarian, but I see one right there.
Which one?
Library clerk number 1.
James Brim. He is working in the information technology area and cannot fulfill an adult service area. Everybody that I have working right now not only handles a circulation, but also a program. In addition to a program, they're also doing a project. For instance, James works the information counter 40 hours a week, plus runs a chess club, a Lego club, and works on a program called What the Tech, which teaches senior citizens or other people who don't understand technology how to use their devices. So he's pretty stretched. Everybody we have is pretty stretched right now.
can I ask you, how many hours a week are you open?
We're open to the public 40 hours a week,
40?
with the employees being able to work a maximum of, or we're open for employees 45 hours a week.
So with these additional, so I think a couple were open, most were open 40, a couple were open 44. With these requests, are you able to go to 44 hours?
Yes. We are wanting to start opening at 9 a.m. for the public rather than 10 a.m. as we have a lot of teachers, homeschoolers. They need to come in a little bit early. So we are wanting to open 1 additional hour for each day that we're open.
Oh, so you want to do an additional hour?
Mm-hmm.
If you recall, the other year when they asked to open additional hours, the city of Hendersonville made an offer to pay half of it at that time.
Well, I know, and there's,
Now we're talking
now,
about-
well, we're in a different, now we're in this kind of fight with the city.
But I mean, the reason that was brought about is because basically the city's been paying the same amount on the libraries for perpetual.
Yeah, I know. So, you know, I'll just kind of look out of the bag. The reason I had been asking some of the questions, and thank you, Terry, for asking it, was I was somewhere at 40, somewhere at 44. I was actually trying to see if we couldn't get folks across the county up to give basically everybody an extra half day open. However, after yesterday, the problem with that I've discovered is that we're gonna have a problem because of the non-exempt versus exempt status change.
Yeah.
That's gonna cost us just to keep us
This one's fine.
where we're at.
Hendersonville's fine, they're already making above the
So-
threshold.
I was just rethinking it myself. I've been trying to keep up with the hours as we go along. One of the hard things for me has been the part-time, because what's a part-time, 20 hours or 30 hours? And I mean, I've mused over that yesterday. So I'm thinking, can your payroll system tell me how many hours of employment we had at each library last year?
Yeah, we can print a report, but the thing is, you're under affordable care. After, I believe, 30, we have to carry
Oh, I know.
health insurance.
I know,
Our
part-times
rule
are
used to be
cheaper.
32 for the health and 32 for retirement, which has all changed to 30.
30.
Because to make it consistent, because it was so confusing, so it's a 30-hour. The problem you've got is the county may want to consider basically not funding 30-hour full-time positions. If people has 4 full-time 30-hour positions versus a 40-hour position, you're paying a lot more on health insurance. You're adding a whole new health insurance plan.
Yeah.
And there's some offices that have 32-hour employees. I forget which ones they were.
So,
Who was it? Was it Ag? Maybe? There's some that have 32-hour
I
employees.
have a couple questions for you. So these are gonna be the pressing questions. And again, I'm gonna be on a broken record. I have been, not saying we're gonna approve these. I think it's probably, it's 50-50 at best. But if we were to approve, I've got 2 questions for you. If we were to approve and we were only able to approve one, which one would you want? And the second question is, would you rather have those approved, or would you rather have, you know, some potentially additional raises above what you asked for your existing staff?
First choice is raises for the staff that's currently working, to get them up to market value and also honor their time and their passion that they're doing. I would settle for an adult service librarian and my custodian.
Okay. And again, I'm just asking what your priorities are.
I've been watching.
So, appreciate it.
There's 92,000.
What kind of turnover do you have? Because I mean.
Zero.
Zero?
Since
Oh.
I've been director, we've had no turnover.
Well, it's just 1 year, but I mean.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good job.
I just have a hard time comparing, like, maybe the other libraries didn't know to request an employee. Maybe they didn't think they could get one. I'm just trying to decide.
Well, in their defense, we're a level 5. We have to operate under certain state standards for what we're offering to the public as far as being able to provide that, you can't say that word, it's too early, digital literacy. We have to provide those type of programs to maintain that level 5 status.
What happens if you don't have that status?
I don't Oh, no, it feels bad.
So there's no, well, that's my point, I mean, there's no.
So
you
we don't
lose
really
any grants or
gain anything from having that other than maintaining the title. And currently, we're the only level 5 in Sumner County and one of the biggest.
I'm not saying we wanna lose it,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like,
Right.
what's really the downside?
We get more opportunities for training. We get more opportunities for just growth, being able to reach out for certain grants, getting more from the state as far as, like I said, with the training and stuff for my staff. Most of my staff aren't just college kids. They're coming to me with bachelor's and master's, and we're definitely not paying them what they're worth, but they have a heart for service. And we don't want to lose them.
All right.
Are there levels for the other libraries also? Are they like a 4 or?
Correct. Gallatin is a 4. I believe Portland and Millersville are 2s, and Westmoreland is a 1.
Is this based
It's
on
based on-
circulation?
Well, it's based on circulation and service population.
That's good to know.
Any other questions? Okay, well, we are 5 minutes ahead of time, and I'm gonna use this 5 minutes to take a small break. Thank y'all.